Hey, friends and family, how you doing out there? Welcome to this episode here of Friends and Legends. Oh my God, I'm so excited because today I have this amazing dude, friend of mine. This is Mr. Greg Reid. He's an author of 157 books. He has published 157. Now, that means this cat don't even sleep at night. You know, him and Tyler Perry are like in the same category. They're crazy. Greg, welcome to the show, and I'm so glad to have you here. I want you to expand on some things. How you doing today?
So good, even I want to be me. And you and I have been talking about getting
Yes.
together for a while, so it's really good to
Yes.
do this.
Oh man, I'm so excited to do this. So we're both storytellers, and it's a wonder. You know, you're writing books and stories, and what's made me successful at what I do is that I've learned how to tell stories when I'm singing the songs. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
The space and the
Yeah.
stories, not the licks and not all the runs and all that. Is telling the story. So today we're going to share some stories, and I want some of you out there, my friends that are watching this Friends and Legends podcast right here, to see. I want you to see just how powerful this brother is right here with his stories and what have you. You have me so enthralled in this one story about Field of Diamonds.
Acres of diamonds, yeah.
Acres of diamonds.
Yeah, that's
And I heard the audio with the actual music and what have you. So what I want you to do, I want you to introduce that, talk about a little bit about that, and then I'm going to insert some of this so my fans can hear the actual musical audio. So tell me a bit, give it a little intro.
That's pretty awesome. Well, first of all, hi everyone. I am Greg, a good buddy of Skip, and I gotta tell you, I love great stories, and one of them is called Acres of Diamonds. And by the way, I'm just going to paraphrase and tell my version of it. But there was a whippersnapper, some guy who's a little bit shady, and he wanted everything instantly to fall into his lap. And everything that went wrong, he blamed somebody else. I'm sure you met somebody like that.
Yep.
And one day he realized that he had a farm and nothing would ever grow. Every time he planted something out in the fields, it would always die. So in the middle of the night, he tricked another group to buy this farm. And because they couldn't see what was going on, they gave him money, pennies on the dollar. He thought he tricked them, and he went on to find his fortune and fame. But wherever you go, there you are. And sure enough, he was a little shady, and shady things happened to him. Well, the people back home, they're upset because sure enough, they got tricked. They bought this farm that every time they grew something, nothing would actually come to fruition because these little white shiny rocks would pop up. They realized that they had acres of diamonds in his own backyard. Just as this one guy is trying to find his fortune and fame, he was literally sitting on it the entire time.
See, what what a story, and it's powerful because it's got such a it translates to a more these what do they call of Aesop's fables,
That's right.
the moral of the story, and that's really powerful because people out there really need to know that, and you are powerful at being able to do that with your stories and stuff, and I appreciate that. I want you to share with me another one of your stories. Of your choosing, because you have just so many. It's just like forever. Guys and gals out there, this dude you need to check out, Greg Reid, because he always has something powerful to give to others. And for me, I have learned that the world is like the universal mirror. Whatever you put into that mirror is what's going to reflect out onto you. In other words, however you are is going to come back to you. So this brother's always giving us things to look at and put in front of the mirror. So give us another story and a parable that people can put into the mirror and reflect out on.
Yeah, we all need mirrors to remind us who we are from time to time. People always talk about all the great projects and things of this nature that have come my direction. But here's something you might not know. I'm dyslexic. I can't spell, I can't read, I can't write. If you play me words with friends, you'll win every single time. And I learned the tools that you work your strengths and you hire your weaknesses. So whenever you do a book, you do something called the query letter. It says who you are, what's your message, why are you an expert, who's going to read your book. I was turned down by 268 publishers, agents, printers in a row until the first group actually bought my first book. And it went on to become a great success. So much so, I even kept these. Look at this. These are all my rejection letters. These are
Wow.
the 268. These are all the people told me why I could never become a best-selling author. And the
Mhm.
first book I did was called The Millionaire Mentor. And one quote from that book was shared 37 million times last year.
Wow. Wow. And what's the name of that book?
Oh, The Millionaire Mentor.
The
But the quote,
Millionaire Mentor.
yeah, and you've seen this quote all over coffee mugs, t-shirts, bumper stickers, all over the place. And it's all about goal setting. It
Yes.
says a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A
Wow.
goal broken into steps becomes a plan. And a
Hmm.
plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. In fact, Ice-T just did his podcast based on that quote for the entire episode.
Wow. 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 That is really powerful. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I was looking so forward to this because I knew you were going to do exactly what you're doing right now. And I was so geeked about it, I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning talking about, oh God, we got the thing today with Greg. Oh my God, I'm so excited. 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just trying to
okay.
take my butt back to sleep.
I got one little kind of cool insight. I was doing an interview for a book I was writing called Think and Grow Rich, Three Things
Yes.
from Gold. And when I
Yes.
was going through this, one guy I interviewed is really interesting. His name's Steve Wozniak. They call him the Woz. He started Apple
Hmm.
Computers with Jobs.
Hmm.
And I said, how is it you guys created so much, wealth and abundance? And he said, that's easy. He says, we embraced our lack. I go, what do you mean? He
Yes.
goes, we embraced what we did not have. We did not run from it. I said, give me an
Hmm.
example. He says, well, these little microchip processors came out. And he says
Hmm.
that Hewlett Packard would make machines that go from A to B with 20 chips. He goes, these were so expensive, we could only afford one. He says, Jobs sold his car. I sold my
Uh-huh.
calculator. We pulled our money to buy one of these things. He goes,
Right.
so I look at IBM and I'd pull away 5 and go from A to B with 15. I'd pull away 5, get the computer to work with 10. Eventually, I
Uh-huh.
found a way to go from A to B using our one chip. He goes, we weren't trying to be cool or innovative. We could
Right.
afford one freaking chip. He goes, but
Uh-huh.
by embracing that as an opportunity, we found the shortest, cleanest path. And by doing that, we changed the way people do personal computing for the rest of the world, for the rest of
Hmm.
their life. He says, where could you be in your own life right now if you stop looking at something as your greatest challenge and obstacle, but it could
Hmm.
be your greatest blessing and opportunity in disguise?
Exactly. Exactly. You know, there's an old phrase that says, common sense isn't that common.
Mm,
And a
amen.
lot of things that make sense, what you're saying, are really in front of us, but we're so busy looking at the landscape, we miss seeing what's right in front of our feet. And as a metaphor, sometimes, for goals to get to where you want to go, my perception of certain goals is I say Mount Everest. Now,
Mm,
if you're looking at Mount Everest and you're getting ready to hike up to Mount Everest, if you look up, the vision of that humongous mountain is overwhelming. It's
right.
just insurmountable. It's just hard to even fathom. You're looking at it going, my gosh, look at this is crazy. But you're walking up this mountain. The best way to get up the mountain is look down at your feet,
Mm,
put one foot over the other, and it looks like you're going fast when you do that. And every once in a while, you turn around and look at how far you've come. And you'll see,
mm,
wow, I've come a long ways, and go back to looking at your feet. So if you want to
amen.
get to your goals, put one foot over the other, and it'll make it feel like you're moving faster than you really are. And you can achieve that goal without it beating you up before you get to the top.
Amen. I climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa.
Yes.
They talk about pole pole. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
one step in front of you. They're just
Right.
getting out of the way. And it's interesting. I actually have a story, shockingly, about
Okay.
a
Give
guy
it to
named
me.
a guy named Truett Cathy. He started a company called Chick-fil-A Restaurants. And I
Yes.
was in his office, and it was palatial. It was crazy. And he had all this marble and it was so fancy. And he had like a poster pinned to the
Mm-hmm.
wall. It's like a Hello Kitty poster. It was a mountain climber, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so out of place. And I go, I don't get
Mm-hmm.
it. I go, why would you have this little silly paper poster in your office? And he says, that's how I live my life as an entrepreneur. I go, like a
Mm-hmm.
mountain climber? And he goes, yes. And I go, why? He says, well, as an entrepreneur, all we see is the summit. You get all excited and you go running up that thing. And as soon as you have a slip, what happens? I go, well, I guess you go to the bottom. He goes, exactly. He goes,
Mm-hmm.
but that mountain climber, he does something smart. He goes up 20 feet, takes a carabiner, and he ties himself off. And he goes up
Mm-hmm.
another 20 feet. He goes, eventually, when I have my slip, we all do because we're human, I'll
Mm-hmm.
only go down 20 feet. And I'll have
Mm-hmm.
the courage, the fortitude, and the energy to
Mm-hmm.
continue to ascend. He goes, stop trying to be all full of piss and vinegar. He goes, look at your goal, but have the courage to tie yourself off.
Yes. Yes. And that keeps you from falling, helps you, it's the safety measures, safety first. That's what they always say, and I appreciate that because, sometimes we, we in trying to be so guarded and so careful. I wonder if you have a story that relates to the same thing, that we try to control the environment versus let things happen. Because really, everything that you really want and desire is at your fingertips and it's right there for you. The only obstacle is you getting in the way of yourself.
Amen. What about this? What if God in the universe granted every wish and every prayer, but we didn't like the packaging in which it came in? God,
Mm-hmm.
I need $100. Lord, give me $100. Your neighbor
Mm-hmm.
comes by and says, hey, buddy, I got all these aluminum cans. Go cash them in, recycle it. You'll get $100. You might say, I don't want those stinky things in my car. Well, you
Mm-hmm.
asked, you prayed, it was delivered, but you didn't
Mm-hmm.
like it. What does that tell
Mm-hmm.
God in the universe the next time we ask for something when we didn't have gratitude and appreciation for what was already given?
Mm-hmm.
It's a quote
Right.
that says, be careful what you ask for. You might
Yes.
just get it, but it might not be
Right.
the packaging which you expect.
Yes. And realize that it won't be necessarily what you look for. Look for the silver lining in anything.
Yes.
Okay. Look for
Yes.
that silver lining because it exists. Everything has a silver lining. And that's how I get through the trials and tribulations of, going where I was going. When I started out doing music and what have you, I wasn't starting it out to get girls and get money and be rich and all of that. That wasn't even in my mind. All I wanted to do was, I heard this guy, Nat King Cole. He was singing "Unforgettable, that's what you are," and he had just passed away. I was 7 years old, and it sounded like he was in the car with us. And I got goosebumps on my arms. And my grandmother and grandfather were driving the car, and I said, "Nana, that's what I'm going to do." And she turned around. She said, "What, baby?" I said, "I'm going to make music so that when I die, people will feel like I'm still in the car with them."
Mm,
That was my premise for doing music in the first place. And
wow.
so all the other things just came along with that. But I just took my steps, walked up that Mount Kilimanjaro, one foot over the other, took the challenges, whatever I took. I figured, well, that's all part of it, but that's where I am going. And if people just decide this is where I'm going, and don't let the challenges around you, because nothing great comes without challenges, and nothing great comes without pain. That's why they came
Mm,
up with that scenario, no pain, no gain, when you're weightlifting. And it has to do with the world and getting to you where you want to go. It's got that same scenario. So if you can endure the pain, if you can endure the challenge, what you desire and what you dream about is yours to just grab. Just get past the tough time.
yes. First, there's a dream, then there's a challenge, and then comes victory. Unfortunately,
Right.
most people quit in the challenging times.
Yes.
Ron
Mm-hmm.
Klein, the guy who invented the credit card magnetic strip validating system,
Mm-hmm.
little
Mm-hmm.
striper. I asked him, I go, how did you guys come up with this? And he says, he goes, back in the day, you go to Macy's and you want to buy some, dishes or whatever. They gave you a plastic card with raised numbers and letters. And they had an accordion list of numbers. And if your number wasn't on there, you had good credit. They
Right.
put in a little device, go ka-chink, ka-chink, and you'd leave with the thing and they send you a bill. He says, reel to reel tapes, the 78 tapes were the cool thing. He
Uh-huh.
says, so I took a piece of that. He goes, I
Mm-hmm.
put a stop and a start, and I put the number and made you the reel to reel tape player. And I go, what do you mean? He
Mm-hmm.
goes, that's why every time you swipe it, you have to get that speed because you are mimicking the speed of the tape that's still on the back today.
Wow. That is so amazing. I mean, wow. That's good. Did you guys hear that? Write that down, get that stuff, and put it on the thing. Don't play no games. That's how we do that. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, now I want you to tell me a little bit about something else that where I was introduced to you by the young lady, Dr. Renee Noor, introduced
That's
me
right.
to you. And I went to see this event that you have called Secret Knock.
Yeah.
And I want you to explain to the people out here what Secret Knock is.
Well, it is the George Costanza opposite day.
Okay.
It's like a Seinfeld episode of events. So most of us have these flyers with little bubble heads, and it tells you who's going to be there and what you're going to learn. And I said, well, what's the opposite? I said, what if we do an event where we don't tell you where it is, who will be there, nothing, just the city, state, and date, and that's it. And then it costs a lot of money to attend, and the people that show up will be the right people. This will be our 20th year of sold out shows in a row, and we've never ran an ad. We're known by Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur Magazine as the greatest event you cannot go to. You have to be invited. And all we do is tell you where the location or the city state, and then we strip the secret location. And by doing that, we've had private Skypes with Edward Snowden telling his side of the story. We've had, Amica, the most sentient being robot. We've had presidents. We've had Nobel
That
Peace.
guy from 7-Eleven was his
Oh,
name?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jim. Yeah. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
unbelievable. And well, wait till you see who's coming this next time. Generally speaking, I can't share, but I got to tell you, 'cause I'm excited. We've got the NASA Hall of Fame astronaut coming in, Scott Parazynski, who's walked in space
What?
7 times and climbed Mount Everest, and he's a doctor, and he's bringing his wife along. And
Okay.
we were on a cruise recently, and I was talking to his wife. I said, did you see on Mars, they have a rover, and they cracked open a rock and they found the building blocks of life? And she goes, yeah. She goes, that's my project. I go, what? She goes, yeah, I'm the one who's found life on the planet. And so she's going to come in and share exactly the discovery in real time. Isn't that wild?
This is crazy. I'm telling you, that's going to be amazing. Well, whenever that happens, whatever, as soon as I find out, I will block that in my schedule and I will be there, because I was so full, and I'm so grateful to even had the chance to meet you and share, because it inspires me. And I thought I was an inspiring kind of individual. You've inspired me as well. And I wanted to inspire my friends and out there that are watching this podcast, Friends and Legends. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back. Don't go nowhere. Remember my phrase, don't play no games. I'll be right back at you. Skip Martin's Friends and Legends podcast, sponsored by Electric Shop Recording Studio, the best recording studio in Las Vegas, award-winning engineers, top-of-the-line equipment, and specialized service. Thank you for the kudos on my In Plain Sight. You got a chance to listen to some of that, my audiobook. That was my first audiobook.
Really good. Not just like good, honestly. That's almost a shame that that's not out in mass force. We're going to do something about that. We're going to have to promote that at Secret Knock for sure and get people to download it.
Hey, friends and family, how you doing back here? I'm here with Mr. Greg Reid, superstar author, motivational speaker, all that. I'm so blessed to have him. Thank you for coming to my show. We both got a chance to go take a leak and come back and have a donut. So we're going to finish and get to another part of this episode. I wanted to ask you expand a little bit on this relevancy, what you've been doing with your messages, your motivational messages, and music. I thought that was so unique. Tell them about that.
And by the way, I want to give some kudos to Tom's Diner. Unbelievable job you've done on that project.
Man, thank you.
Phenomenal. And the book that you did, adding where it sounds like you're in a nightclub just talking.
Fables of a Paid Piper.
It's incredible. I'm giving it my highest 5 out of 5 star rating. Just unbelievable. And I believe that what happens is, you understand, when you hear a story is great, and when you're getting a message is great, but when you add some music to it, it really uses a cement and solidifies into our brain. And so I've been working with a gentleman named Roy Smooth, who takes my words and then crafts them with some jazz music, and they've went on to be listened to quite a bit on Spotify. Yeah,
I think it's really, really phenomenal. When we get a chance, I'll tell you some other things, because I really like what you're doing. I want to help you. I'm a producer. I'm a music producer. This is my home studio, Electric Shop Studio here in Las Vegas. I've done so many, really incredible projects here, and it's like family. It's like home. And so that's my happy place. You've done, so many so many books. It's just something in your nature just to do that. And I've been fortunate. I have now recorded 65 albums
Holy,
in my life.
that's amazing.
I have over 650 songs registered to Sound Exchange.
Wow.
And they just, I didn't do it to, get paid. I wasn't even in my mindset. I was doing it to leave something in humanity that I was here. And I keep doing that. So I expand and I keep doing projects like this. This right here is so filling in my heart to me.
Yeah.
It's I've this and working with children. So have you had any time and experience to do you do this one-on-one, or do you do workshops or master classes with young people?
Well, it's interesting you even say that. My whole title, The Millionaire Mentor, is because I mentor inner city kids in San Diego, happen to be successful. So I drive up in a new car. The kids would say,
Uh-huh.
"Here comes my millionaire mentor." But I
Wow.
want to tie some of the stuff together because I don't think you even know this. And it's kind of, I hope this is kind of a cool story. Is at Secret Knock many years ago, there's a gentleman that came. His name was Frank Shankwitz. And he
Mhm.
started a nonprofit called Make a Wish Foundation that grants
Yes.
wishes to terminally ill kids.
Yes.
And during the interview, I said, "Frank, I got to know, what was your wish?" And he says, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, you're the founder of Make a Wish. What'd you wish for?" And he says, "No one
Mhm.
asked me." I says, "Well, I'm going to be the guy that grants your wish. Anything you want, I will give it to you. I'm your genie." And he says, "All I want is my story to be told so my grandkids will know I did something." So he
Mhm.
signed over his life rights. And I said, "Frank, I'm going to make this into a major feature film. Just know I've never made a movie." And it took
Mhm.
6 years of trials and tribulations. But when it came out in 2019, we made the ballad for the Oscars, and we're still trending worldwide right now. It's called Wish Man. We were on Netflix
Wow.
for years, and the whole moral is that everyone can be a hero. You do not need to be a celebrity to give a pair of socks to a homeless person or stop a
Right.
bully for fighting. And if a
Right.
motorcycle cop from Arizona can grant the wish of a kid with leukemia to be a motorcycle cop for a day, well, we can all do something to have a ripple effect to impact the lives of others.
You know what? That is so true, so true. And I'm gonna circle back to something you said when we first started.
Mm.
And you were mentioning about something that sometimes that individual feels like it was a handicap. You said dyslexic.
Yes.
Okay? And I was challenged with something called ADD.
Mhm.
And ADD is really, in the educational system, it means that this child or individual has a need that you have to identify in order to catch their attention. And I was one of those. I could regular school stuff didn't interest me. This and that, it didn't get me, but the music did get me. And because of that, I ended up putting together a whole synopsis about a movie. So I'll be sharing that with you so we can see what we can do with that down the road, because it's about a thing called A Boy Named Skip. And you,
Wow.
being the guy that you are, you can kind of understand this relationship. I was blessed with this gift called audiographic. How do you say it? Audiographic memory. So when I hear something, I can recant it, especially
Mm.
if I hear music. I didn't know. I thought everybody could do it. When I was learning how to play trumpet and all of this, the kids are playing da 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 da. I'm like, you don't hear that? Da 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 da. You don't hear that? What's wrong? You don't
Mhm.
hear that? And
Mhm.
I didn't learn how to read the music because every time I heard the song, I could play it. So what did I
Mhm.
need to read it for? I just heard it.
I
It
thought
goes
that
like
was I
this.
thought that was called the willow or something like that.
I
Like that.
don't know. It may be the widow, but it's when you have a photographic memory, you can
Yes.
remember things that you've seen. I have an audiographic memory.
That
So
is
anything that's
I had
audio,
that's amazing. Never knew that about you. And by the way, if you guys don't believe that he and I both together between dyslexia and ADHD, you should try getting on a phone call with he and I. I mean, hey, at least they're quick. They're quick. Yep. This is the longest conversation you and I have ever
had. I'm telling you, I knew it was going to be like that. So I really appreciate you getting through that trial of dyslexia and myself with this audiographic memory and what have you. And it helped me to get to some other places. I'm not going to share the story of my book on this particular thing, but you and I are going to talk about that later over coffee or whatever. So I wanted to say this other thing. So how out of all of this writing and all of this stuff, can you tell me something about the structure of your upbringing, like with your family? Did you have mom and dad at home? Was it a broken home? Was it this or that? What were some of the trials that helped you develop and help you source yourself at where your goals were going to be?
Yeah, I had a rough life growing up as a rich white kid in San Diego. I mean, yeah, one time
I can't see how that could be. Okay.
One time the gardener couldn't show up, and my dad made me mow the lawn. You know, it's a rough life. So, yeah, I don't have one of those rags or riches type of story. You know, I was in a street gang at night. We break into Maseratis and detail them.
Okay,
we're a rough group, right? So yeah, it was a different life growing up, and it's so interesting. Even for my kid today, and a lot of kids of today, the average time that we had with our dads was about 7 minutes a day FaceTime. And now we grow up with our kids at the same time because so many of us are entrepreneurs and have a different mindset. And it's really interesting. I keep thinking my kid's going to grow up and go, man, that guy would never go away. He's always there. And, I needed some anonymity, so I get that. Yeah, I don't have one of those rag to riches stories.
Well, I had to kind of figure out certain things on that because I didn't have that male mentor in the house with me as I was coming up. I had to learn along the way, trial and error. My development as a young man, what have you, came later because I had to live it to learn it. You know, and as opposed to being advised and having something to watch and mimic, like, you know. So a lot of people out there in the world today that are brilliant. There's a lot of brilliant kids and all of this, and it's all about the challenges. So don't let those challenges stop you from being. A matter of fact, if it weren't for those challenges, I wouldn't be who I am today because I was forced to get out there and make my way. And the forcing was I had to get out of a home situation that was making me lose my damn mind. I'm just losing my mind here. If I don't get out of here, I'm not going to make it. I won't survive. And I'm so thankful for those challenges because it forced me to get out into a world where I found out my value, who I am, where I am, and what I could do. And
that is awesome, Skip. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you turn your obstacles into opportunities, which is key of life. You know, it's interesting. I was doing a podcast not too long ago, and she asked a question. She goes, "Do you pay your kid money to allowance to do things he doesn't like to do around the house, like make the bed and take out the trash and mow the lawn?" I go, "Yes, absolutely. I'm going to teach my son the power and respect of money." And she says, "Stop." She goes, "That's too bad. You're ruining your child. I expected more from you." I said, "What? What are you talking about?" She goes, "Think about it. You're training your child from the earliest thought, the earliest of memory. The only way to get paid money is to do something he doesn't like to do." And I had an epiphany, and I sat him down and says, "Colt, I noticed that you make all these great TikToks and videos." I go, "From now on, you're my videographer. What I'm going to do is start paying you money to do these for me. And how about you make the bed and take out the trash and call it contribution for living the lifestyle we do?" It changed our paradigm. So now he works his strength. So he comes up to me and the brand new Jordans are out. He says, "Dad, how many TikToks you need for the new kicks?"
Right. See? That is crazy. That is crazy. And, you know, for those of you that are listening, what have you, my mom gave me something that was so valuable, helped me to become so successful at what I'm doing. And I was frustrated at one time in my life. I had many times in my life, but this particular time, I was about 22, 23 years old, somewhere in there. And I had been playing my trumpet. I had been I've been playing it and loving to play this horn and was out on the road and this and that. And things were a little bit difficult here and there. And I was trying to figure out some things and this and that. By the way, my only job I ever had was been playing music. I've taken care of households and this and that, so forth. 3 households, as a matter of fact. All of that from just playing music. Now, I didn't have a secular job one time. I had one for about a year, and that was it. But so I said, Ma, I'm so frustrated with this right now. I don't know if I should have just stayed in school and got my PhD in music and this and that, so forth. She said, baby, the measure of an educated man is the places he's been. How many times you been around the world? And I said, Mom, I've been around many more times. How many countries you been in, baby? I said, well, I've been in 60 countries, something like that. So you don't worry about nothing they have in books. You just keep on going, and do what you And I was like, thank you, Mom, so much. Thank you. And she gave that to me. And the other thing she gave to me even before that, well, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. She said, baby, I want you to make a 24-hour clock. I said, what, Ma? Make a 24-hour clock. I said, what do you want me to do with that? She says, I want you to put whatever you did in 24 hours on that clock. If you talked to your girlfriend for 2 hours, put that on her. If you slept for 4 hours, you put that on her. If you ate for 2 hours, put that on her. If you watch cartoons, everything that you did in 24 hours, you put that there. And then at the end of that, you count up and find out what you spent the most hours doing. And if you do that, you have found out what your passion is. And go for that, baby, because everybody got to do something.
Oh, that's great. That is such a great message right there. Hey, do what you love what you do. You'll love your life the whole life through.
Exactly. At least everybody's got to do something, So we're going to do a part 2 to this a little bit later. I have so much time on this Zoom, and I don't want it to cut off before we properly let people know. One, how can they reach you and follow you and get more of this golden knowledge that you have, that you've been just giving the world?
Well, first, I appreciate everyone to just go to Instagram, of all things. Okay. Everyone's connecting on social media. And mine is Greg S. Reid. Greg S. Reid. And if you DM me directly, it goes to me. There's no filters. There's no...
The S is for Superman. Greg Superman Reid. Okay.
I'm going to call it Greg Sober Reid. I don't know if you know this. I happen to be 30, going on 38 years clean. Isn't that wild?
Oh, see, now there you go. Greg Sober Superman Reid. Okay? I love that. That's great, man. That's great. That's another thing to show others, that help, others to become what they can be throughout the challenges. And that's what I love. That's what I love about you as a person. And it was easy, and you're easy to love about that, because I can relate to you. I want to really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming here and spending this valuable time that is golden. Nothing could pay for this time that we're just spending together. And we're going to do a part 2 and continue on further on in this. I'm going to bring you back as another guest. If you would come, I would just love it.
Yes. In fact, I'll come to Vegas and we'll hang out.
That'll be great. That'll be so great. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank Electric Shop Studio for helping to sponsor this, what we're doing here. And I want you guys to remember that you can be the best that you ever been if you get out of the way of yourself. Ego means edging God out. So let that go and be the best you can be. Get out of the way of yourself, and don't be afraid of the challenges, because there's always a victory on the other side of fear. I'm going to talk to you guys later. And remember, my phrase, don't play no games. Greg Reid, Superman, Super Soperman. We love you. Thank you very much.
Bye, Skip.
Bye-bye. Skip Martin's Friends and Legends podcast, sponsored by Electric Shop Recording Studio, the best recording studio in Las Vegas, award-winning engineers, top-of-the-line equipment, and specialized service.